All right, everybody, it's Thursday night again. Here we are, Steve Burklow. Don is again gone this week. When we get to this time of the year, Mr. Don Bell is real busy doing trade shows, and he's also specifically he's on the road doing seminars. So got a seminar tonight, tomorrow night. He's a busy man. So I'm covering for Don tonight, and we got a big show tonight. We're going to go over a lot of things here, hopefully learn a few things. So just hang in there. I guess we're by the middle of August here. We're getting close to the hunting season's coming up, bow season. It'll be here before we know it. We're less than 6 weeks out now. So food plots are, everybody's kind of getting food plots ready. If they hadn't already mowed that first mowing or sprayed, now they're running over it with a disc, trying to kind of get the food plots ready for that September, October planting. So trail cameras are now, the bucks or antlers are pretty much almost all the way developed now. Still in velvet most places. The antlers are already grown as much as they're going to grow, and so you ought to be getting some good trail cam pictures right now. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. We'll see what we can do with this show here.
You've worked hard all summer to get everything just right. Don't leave the rest of it to chance. Use the finest deer urine ever collected, and the only one in the market that is oxygen-free. From collection to bottle. Get ready. It's time to hunt.
Repel and kill the bugs that bug you most with the all-natural 100% deep-free BioShield.
You've waited your whole life for this moment. Don't spoil your opportunity because of poor preparation. Keep your optics clean and fog-free for a clear shot every time. Fog Zero.
All right, folks, we're back. One thing we wanted to kind of do a little different this week is, I'm kind of into the bow hunting part of, not that Don's not, but I'm pretty much strictly bow hunting, and kind of wanted to do something a little different. Wanted to go over just a couple of little tips that I've picked up just from 30 years of bow hunting. And just indulge me, if you will, you guys that have been bow hunters for a long time. This is probably geared more towards the beginners and guys that are just now getting into bow hunting, that maybe have been gun hunting for years, but now want to take up bow hunting. And I'll tell you, if you ever get into it, you be careful, because it'll bite you. You'll love it. So one thing, this is my hunting bow here, and which I really like it. Just one thing here. I don't know, Tom, if you can see. Maybe I'll take the quiver off. I know most people nowadays. I'm a little bit more. I say traditional. I shoot a compound. I do like a compound, but I don't like a peep sight. Most people nowadays shoot a peep sight. Well, only thing about a peep sight is when it gets close to dark, if it's getting, and that's the time you see a lot of the big bucks, or a lot of bucks in general, it's hard to see through it. So I use a kisser button, and I don't even use a peep sight. I just can't see through them. So just over the years, I've adapted just to be able to use a kisser button. However, using a kisser button does give up some left and right. It's hard to line up your left and right whenever you're not using a peep sight. So what I've done to my bow, and which really helps me a lot to line up my left and right, is I've got a piece of orange tape right here on the sight window, right here on the side of the sight window. And what I do when I draw it back, I line up this string with right in the center of this piece of orange. This orange tape right here. At full draw, you line this up with this, and that gets your left and right on. And then, of course, you put the kisser button in the corner of your mouth, so you're in the same lock position every time. Line that up. Sounds complicated, but really it's not. Once you get in the habit of doing it, pull it back, line it up, boom, let it go. I'm telling you, it's really worked well for me. Just one tip right there. Other tip is actually a hunting situation. Got to thinking, I don't know why it took me so long to figure this out, but like again, most people already know this probably, but you know, when you get up the tree and you got to pull your bow up, 'cause I hope you don't climb with your bow. What you want to always do, since your quiver, like this quiver, holds 6 arrows, put it back on here. This holds 6 arrows. What you want to do is, whenever you hook up your bow to it, hook it up this way. You want to pull your bow up with the quiver up. Since you're pulling it up, that way it doesn't get caught in the limbs. Because if you pull it up like this, your arrow is going to get jammed up in the limbs, and it'll be tough. So, whenever you're letting your bow down, a lot of people just do it the same way they came up, but always turn it over. Hook it up to your bow, let it go down. That way your quiver's taking the brunt of the damage going down, and what it's designed to do. And that way you're not getting your arrows all jammed up, and sometimes it'll knock your arrows out of there even. So just a little tip, you know, that's not much, but you know, just something to learn. Just over the years, kind of picked that up. And so anyway, guys, we're gonna have some callers here in just a minute, I believe. Or you may take a question, Tom? Website question? All right, here we go. All right, we got Tony Coletti from Richmond, Texas. I purchased your scent control, spray, body wash, and clothes wash. I plan to hunt Wyoming in October this year and wanted to know if this scent will work there also. Will it be something they would be attracted to as a whitetail, or do you think it'd be something they have never smelled before and be alarmed? Well, Tony, that's a good question. The product, Scent Defense, is what you're talking about. Scent Defense is, as everybody knows, we've said on the show before, 3-in-1 product. It's going to kill your body odor, but now that scent is it's an all-natural scent, because everything in Scent Defense is all natural. So we tested our products in Alabama last year really in depth. Now, everybody knows, especially in this part of the world, that whitetails in Alabama and Florida are very, very skittish. I mean, very skittish. So if you can fool those whitetails down here, or you can get the jump on them, then I really think Wyoming, they'll be fine too. But nonetheless, opening day, whenever in Alabama, and I kind of go back to this, I know I've said it on the show, but I had really, I mean, just covered myself with Scent Defense spray. And the very first day I'd ever used it, matter of fact, it was opening day of bow season, I had a nice 8-point come downwind right to me. So never did spook him. He kind of had his nose up. Now I did have some buck urine on the ground too. So, but nonetheless, it didn't spook him. We've had other people say, my brother had a guy that hunted out of a tripod, had a doe walk up to him within 3 feet of him. So it was, I mean, just phenomenal. So, I mean, he could almost touch it. And does are real spooky, especially here in Alabama and Florida. But say we got a caller. All right, I think we got a caller. Maybe. Yep. All righty, you got Steve Burklow and taking questions. Don Bell's out tonight. I apologize. Who we got? Oh, nobody. All right, we'll go to another question while the guys in the room back there work on getting them back on the line. Let's see, we got a Facebook question. Rebecca Lynn, what dictates a buck's home range other than food? Well, good question. Pretty much anything that'll meet the buck's needs, which are pretty basic, will keep him in that home range. Of course, food is one of them. Food, abundant food. Of course, does, they're always, that time of year looking for does. Does, food, water, and cover. Cover is very important. If they got good cover, that'll really help keep them in that home range. Like in where you're at, Dodge City, Kansas, that's pretty wide open out there in Kansas, but you do have you got a lot of areas of hardwood bottoms and little finger points and necks, and I'm going to Kansas here in about 2 or 3 months, looking very forward to going. It's just a fabulous place to whitetail hunt. But anyway, yeah, cover, food, water, and the does, if they're there, they'll keep them in that home range. Guys, will you get it worked out? Yep, here we go. All righty, you got Steve Burklow filling in for Don Bell. How you doing?
We're good. How are you?
All right, who we got? What's
My
your
question is, what's the ideal buck-to-doe ratio for a healthy herd? And as a follow-up question, how would you go about figuring out what your buck-to-doe ratio is in your given hunting area?
All right, very good question. And what was your name?
Daniel Bryant?
Daniel Bryant, Dallas, Texas, is that right?
Yes, sir. I live in Dallas, and I hunt east of here in Athens.
Athens, all right. Well, man, Texas, man, you're blessed with a ton of deer and some great hunting. Your first question, absolutely. What was the first question again?
What's the ideal buck-to-doe ratio
yeah.
needed for a healthy herd?
Well, of course, your ideal buck-to-doe ratio 1 to 1. That's what we've been really shooting for on our property up in Alabama, is a 1 to 1 buck-to-doe ratio. We're getting pretty close to doing that. It's tough. You got to be diligent about shooting the does. Every time, what we do, because whenever we bought our property, the buck-to-doe ratio was pretty close. So basically, what we do is if we shoot a buck, we also shoot a doe. We shoot as many does as we do bucks. But and then the second part of your question, as far as how do you figure it out? The number one way to do that, well, there's 2 different ways. One is a lot more expensive. You can get a game biologist to come in there, and they will figure that out for you, and it's very precise, but it will cost you. The other way, which is fun also, is by game cameras. Matter of fact, it's funny because I was watching a show on the Sportsman's Channel 2 weeks ago, and they were talking about this exact question that you just asked. How do you figure it out? And that was their answer, is with game cameras. If you put game cameras, several, depending on your size property, that will really help tell you your buck-to-doe ratio, counting them. Also, by deer hunting, if you have a group of guys, let's say if you're 5 or 10 guys, keep up with what you're seeing every day. That's another way that you can kind of get to your buck-to-doe ratio and see what it is. I hope that gave you some insight and hope that answered your question. But yeah, 1 to 1 ratio is ideal. I know a lot, like down here in the South and Alabama and Florida, the seasons are so long, and they have been for years, that you could shoot so many bucks that it's way out of proportion here. Used to, back where we were, it could be 15 does to 1 buck, which is horrible. But now, since they put a limit on the amount of bucks you can kill, it's really, really helped. And now shooting the does, but you got to shoot those does.
Yes, sir. It's really hard to shoot the does on the property I hunt. You're only allowed to shoot the does during archery season, and then you have 1 weekend during rifle season that you can shoot them. The weekend of Thanksgiving is the only weekend that you're allowed to shoot them during rifle season. And on the property I hunt, the only person that bow hunts is me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that right? Well, now, what do you feel like your buck-to-doe ratio is? At out of balance?
At least 3 or 4 does per buck.
Yeah. You want to. How big is the property?
It's 160 acres that I hunt, but my neighbor next to me does not allow people to hunt on their land, and they own 17,000 acres.
Well, that's nice.
Yes, sir.
That's nice for you.
That's on the south side. On the north side, there's a game preserve that's about 500 acres that backs up to the lake, and no one's allowed to hunt that either. So it's pretty much, 18,000 acres of unhunted territory that surrounds my property.
Right. Well, You sound like you got a pretty good setup there. Just you hunting the property, or?
It's me and my 4 brothers hunt the property, and my wife and my daughter hunt as well.
Yeah. Well, you know, that is frustrating if you can only shoot does during that time. Man, yeah, we try to take all of our does during bow season. That way we're not shooting as much as we necessarily have to.
Yes, sir.
Because when them guns start going off down here, they kind of get scarce. But yeah, just taking out some of those does would help you. Although 3 to 4 bucks, I mean does to 1 buck is not real bad. It certainly could be a lot worse, but yeah, through killing some does, you could get that down there. But also, I don't know if you've tried any top secret deer scent, any estrus or the bad boy buck urine, but I'll tell you what, them bucks, if they smell that buck urine, they'll just want to come see who the new guy on the block is. So might be something to think about there to draw them out of your neighbor's property.
Yes, sir. I hadn't even heard about y'all's scent line until I commented on one of your Facebook pages, and then he contacted me to be on the podcast. I hadn't even heard about it. I've done a little research since last week, but I had never even heard about y'all's scent, so I will definitely have to give it a try.
Well, give us a try. I don't know if you know, but Don Bell, he invented Code Blue. Then moved on to Top Secret. Top Secret is, of course, it's collected oxygen free. Never has seen oxygen, so it's not been ammoniated. It's very fresh. So instead of saying a deer was there, it says a deer is there. So man, I tell you, I couldn't have been happier the last year when I used it. I had great results. Several bucks come in to check it out. Matter of fact, I know I've said it just a while ago, but I used buck urine the very first day of bow season. The very first time I used Top Secret last year in Alabama, the first day of bow season, I had an 8-point trail it in and killed him within the first hour of the hunt. So man, I tell you, that made me a quick believer. But give it a try. I think you'll like it.
Yes, sir. I definitely will have to.
All right. Well, hey, I hope that answered your question, and we appreciate you calling in tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, guys.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt.
Repel and kill the bugs that bug you most with the all-natural 100% deep-free BioSheet.
You've waited your whole life for this moment. Spoil your opportunity because of poor preparation. Keep your optics clean and fog-free for a clear shot every time. Fog Zero.
Hi guys, we're back. One thing I meant to go over a while ago, or just say a while ago whenever I was kind of doing a few of the bow tips. One thing I'm excited about this year is trying out a new product. And I have no interest in this product as far as monetarily or anything. So, but my wife got me this. I believe it's Father's Day. Is that right? Father's Day. It's made by it's an XL Spy Point game camera. It mounts right on your stabilizer of your bow. I just knocked over, but see, it mounts just like that. It's pretty neat. You just open up this and the camera pops out of it. So let's say you go hunting, you shoot a buck, you get it on video right here. Well, now you get down from the tree and you go blood trailing. You can pop this open and you can pop it open, fold it open, take the little camera out, attach it to an attachment that comes with it to go on your head or your hat, and then you can blood trail it and video the blood trail and finding the deer. So. And then this stays on your bow, so it's really nice. Has several different attachments to it. I'm sure there's not just this brand available. But this Spy Point Game Cam, I'm looking forward to using this year and trying to capture some of my hunts on video. Hopefully, maybe some big deer. So, anyway, might want to check that out. It's a Spy Point Game Cam. But all right, what we got, Big Tom? We got a Facebook. All right, we'll do a Facebook question. All right, let's see. This is from Ben Flack from Racine, Wisconsin. I hope I'm saying that right, Racine or Racine. What is the difference between your foam and liquid applications? Well, Ben, that's a good question. Let me answer. I'm going to go over the liquid first. This is the liquid, and the reason that Top Secret is in a clear bottle is because it's oxygen free, and we want to show you that it's yellow, fresh estrus urine. That's what it's supposed to look like. Now, if you get it from any other deer urine on the market, it's going to be in a dark bottle. It's dark. That means it's already been ammoniated. Top Secret hasn't been ammoniated. All right, so if you buy the liquid to keep it oxygen free in between uses, you got to have the Scent Saver, which you can buy separately. Scent Saver, what you do, you take your 3-ounce bottle of Top Secret, pull the plug, pour every bit of it in this bottle. You take your Scent Saver, your pump, and you pump it out. A couple of pumps, it'll click. And then what you do is that keeps that little stopper keeps it all the air out of it until you're ready to use it. So, and then when you're ready to use it, there's a little nipple on top, you just push it, lets the air into it, you open it, use it, cap it again, pump it out, put it back in your backpack, you're ready to go for the next time. So it's a neat little deal there, keeps it fresh for the whole life of the bottle. Now, the foam is one of my favorites. The foam is 8 ounces. Comes in buck urine, also comes in the Hot Mama estrus. We also have it in tarsal gland also, which is one of my favorites for late in the season. But this estrus right here it stays oxygen free. You don't have to have the Scent Saver. Every pump is the first time it sees oxygen. So 8 ounces retails for around $20. You can't beat it. So I really like the foam. It fits real good in your front cargo pockets on your hunting pants, and you can just slip it right out and foam it on the way into your stand and make a perimeter out in front of your stand, and that'll bring them in right there. All right, I think we got another phone caller. Yep. Good afternoon, Steve Burklow standing in for Don Bell. Who we got?
It's Jeremy Kelso.
All right. What, Johnny, you said? Jeremy? Jeremy Kelso from Missouri?
Yes, sir.
Man, ain't fair. You got all them big bucks up there.
That's what he said last time.
Oh, man. Yeah, they big up there. What's your question tonight?
Well, my question was actually supposed to be for last week, but either way, I've kind of got ideas of where to hunt during the rut. If it'd be better to hunt like out in the open or in the woods or around a body of water, or just take a chance and find a spot and put a tree stand.
Well, unfortunately, I've never been to Missouri. Are you talking about hunting in Missouri, right?
Yeah, 'cause that's the only place that I hunt.
Okay.
For some much strange reason, everybody else thinks you have to spend money to buy a tag and tossed out the butt. Right.
Well, there in Missouri, I'm not, because I hadn't been hunting in Missouri. I'm not sure kind of how the layout is. Is it a lot of fields and then?
I've got 10 acres. And my 10 acres is all hardwood. I've got open fields. I got open field all the way around me. Just a little bit north, about a stone's throw away, I got a cornfield to one end of me, and then on the other end of me, I've got open field with a drainage, kind of a wet weather creek. And then back behind me, in an open field, I've got a big old pond.
Man, sounds like your 10 acres of hardwoods seems like to me it's perfectly located. If you got fields on either side of you or all sides, seem like your 10 acres would be a great place for them to be crossing through. Kind of transitioning there. Deer, they like to check out new things. I mean, they'll eat in one field and slip through and go eat in another field, check out what's there, what does are there, whatever. But
Right.
yeah, but
That's
if
another thing is all the open fields around me's got all cattle in them.
oh they do, yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's tough. Well, can you put out feed in Missouri?
If you don't get caught.
Okay, so the answer to that is no. Well, if
I usually throw some out in front of my trail cam before
Yeah.
season starts.
Right.
And then once season starts,
you got to back
I don't
off.
throw anything else out.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. If you could, then yeah, that'd be a way to try to keep them in there, being there's cattle. I mean, those deer get used to the cattle, but I'm like you. Sounds like I'd prefer them cattle not to be there if I'm hunting.
Right.
Deer are funny. They get a little bit skittish around stuff like that. I know, like hogs, they'll scare them away. But
Right.
yeah, getting on those pinch points then where they're crossing in between those fields. It's kind of hard to say if not being able to see it, but man, sounds like your hardwood bottom. Do they produce acorns in there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the great thing is I've got acorn trees in my backyard that I'm sitting here watching squirrels pick the acorns off and drop them down on an old tin roof on my shed. And they'll drop so many of them and then go down and gather them. Then they'll go back up, drop so many of them and gather them.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've not had an opportunity to get back there in the back in the woods and find out what's going on back there. I just started me a new job, and so working 13, 14-hour days, it kind of puts a damper on what I do.
Right. So what you're saying is you've never hunted the 10 acres yet, or you're?
No, as a matter of
Oh.
fact, we just moved on to it.
Oh, wow.
Like 3 weeks ago. So this is new land for me. I've not even had a chance to scope it out. I'm going into this blind.
Well, I tell you what, I don't.
I'm excited. I tell you what.
Well, I would. Yeah, I would be too. Well, it sounds like a great place. I tell you, it sounds like you couldn't go wrong going into that 10 acres anywhere, as long as you can get to where there's a clump of good trees that are falling. Acorns are falling real good, and
Right.
yeah, as long as especially early bow season when those acorns are falling, man, getting in there where you got a pretty good concentration of them falling. And hey, man, foam you a little buck urine walking in there. Them bucks, they smell that buck urine. They'll want to come see who the new guy on the block is. And but yeah, with some top secret buck foam or something, that'll increase your chances too. But man, yeah, if you got those acorns and you got fields around it with cows, man, I tell you what, you may be in for a good hunt.
I'm hoping so. I just bought me a brand new Hoyt last year, and I didn't get to use it last year, and I'm kind of anxious to put it to use.
When does bow season start?
September.
Wow, starts pretty early then. Oh man, you're just around the corner.
And that's the bad thing about Missouri is our bow season starts like the second. Let's see, I believe it's September 15th is when our bow season starts, and it goes on into November just before rifle season opens, and then it opens up. They do rifle and muzzleloader and all that good stuff, and archery opens back up in December, all the way into January.
Wow. Well, yeah.
We've got a long season as far as archery, but man, it just opens up way too early. It's still way too hot.
Yeah, it's kind of the way it is down here. It opens up. They've moved it a little bit. It used to open up October 15th, and down here, October 15th, it's usually still pretty brutal. But yeah, I mean, if you can stand the heat, man, I tell you what.
Florida anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, and I hunt in South Alabama, and it's hot during that time of year. Now they moved it to around October the 25th, which, unless you get lucky and have a cool front come through, which usually it's pretty warm. But that takes you to scent defense. You spray some scent defense spray on you. It keep those gnats and mosquitoes off of you. But hey, man, yeah, hey, send us some pictures or let us know. I'm anxious to hear how you do on that 10 acres of hardwoods. That sounds, to me, man, I'd be excited about that.
Oh, I'm totally excited. The neighbors that I talk to, they say the deer run through on one side of my property. They've got I call them shooting lanes, but they've got a path mowed out right up along the fence that goes all the way back, and there's a few other little trails mowed out, and I've been told that they follow them pretty well. Man. But that's just hearsay from the neighbors.
Well, hey, you'll find out here soon enough, and hey, if you do, send us a picture of that buck. We'll post him in the trophy room. We'd love to do that.
Hey, I'll dang sure do it.
All right, Jeremy. Well, hey, good luck, and hey, we appreciate you calling in tonight.
I appreciate you guys talking to me.
All right, bud. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll come back and take some more questions.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt.
Repel and kill the bugs that bug you most with the all-natural 100% deep-free BioShield.
You've waited your whole life for this moment. Don't spoil your opportunity because of poor preparation. Keep your optics clean and fog-free for a clear shot every time. Fog Zero.
All right, guys, we're back. I think we're going to take a couple of Facebook questions. First one we got here is from, I think it's Raquel Harriet from Miller, South Dakota. How do bucks typically bed with wind directions? Well, usually a buck, and does for that matter, will bed wind in the face. That way anything out in front of them, they're picking up the scent, and they can get the heck out of there if something comes by there and they pick up a scent of a human or something that doesn't smell right, they can get up and gone. So when they're bedded, they're looking into the wind. So hope that answered your question. Facebook question, Samantha Porter, Preston, Minnesota, where it's very cold. Can you describe the estrus cycle of a doe? Well, estrus cycle of a doe, you know, it's typically, not to get real scientific, it's not too much different than the estrus cycle of every animal, but it's going to start out, and they're going to start building up those hormones until they get to a point where they can physically breed, and they go into heat, and then if they don't get bred in that estrus cycle, then it'll start breaking down, and then their cycle will start going back down. But now they'll come back in. If they don't get bred, they'll come back in, and then the next cycle they'll come back into cycle again, come back into heat, and they can get bred. And a lot of times your less mature does or yearling does will come into cycle, and a lot of times, like up Illinois, Kansas, stuff like that, you'll see those bucks chasing does way into after the rut, and that's the reason they're chasing a doe that didn't get bred and is coming into cycle again, and it may be 2 or 3, it may be a month or two after the typical rut time is. So hope that answered your question. Guys, what we got? All right, hey, we got something a little different too this week. We got a couple of video clips of some of my past hunts, and not necessarily videos of me, but videos of some surroundings that that I've hunted, some in Alabama, some Illinois, I think one maybe even Canada. Maybe it's just a little bit of instructional, kind of why we set up there and why we hung the stand there. Again, for you guys that, not mainly for you guys that have been hunting for a long time, you know how to hang a stand, know where to hang it and why you want to hang it there. This is mainly for the young bow hunter or the young deer hunter that's just now getting into it, or an older hunter that's just now starting to bow hunt. Let's roll the tape there. All right, this is in Illinois. Beautiful woods. Love to hunt Illinois. Being from Alabama, I go up there in the big hardwood draws and really steep slopes and hardwood bottoms. But on this one particular video, we're set up on the edge of a field and we got water coming up behind us, which really makes it a natural funnel, like a natural travel pattern. With that water behind you and that field coming in, they're going to come right down the edge of it. That water, being the way it's situated, forces them to come through that one little nick of the dry land and gives you your shot right there if it's the deer you want to shoot. So that's what that is. It's really cool that it actually forces them to kind of course they could walk somewhere else, but the ones that are coming to that field, that kind of pushes them right through there. Gave us about a 20-yard shot. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, this is, I think this may be Alabama, not sure, but yeah, this is Alabama, because I see in the shorter timber in the back, that's a big stand of planted pines. On the other side of this little hardwood strip right there, you got planted pines behind it, which is often what I like to hunt. We got thick planted pines. We're a good bedding area where a lot of deer like to bed because they're real safe in there. A lot of underbrush under them pines, so they get in there and get laid down. But I like to get out there about 30 yards off of the edge of those planted pines, and that's a perfect distance. If they slip out, a lot of times them deer ease out of them pines, and they'll start looking around before they commit to come out. They can see well, right, and they got that security right behind them. So if you're 30 yards, you're perfect for a shot. 30 yards towards the pines, plus you got 30 or 40 yards behind you on the other direction, so you're covering about 70 to 80 yards. So that's what that particular case was there. Here, this actually shows a small buck right here. This is Illinois. Shows a small buck right here walking through a hardwood bottom. Now this is right here is just a hardwood bottom. A lot like your northern or your Midwest states like Illinois, Kansas, and Iowa, Missouri, which Jeremy we were just talking to. You have hardwood bottoms, a lot of fields, and then you have on the backs of those edges of the fields, you have hardwood bottoms separating another field and little fingers and necks. That's where you want to be, is in those little hardwood draws. That's where they're going to be traveling, getting to those fields. So, man, getting in those hardwood bottoms is just beautiful. For one thing, Mother Nature is just incredible to hunt in there. Plus, man, deer, they really move through there. So that's what that was, hardwood bottom, like that buck was moving through there in Illinois, hardwood draw there. So not a bad buck, but for Illinois, where we were hunting right there at the hunt club, in southern Illinois, that would be a buck you'd pay a fine for if you shot, so I'd let him go. It's a little button buck there. But that's it. Is that a different tape or is that the same? Same one. So yeah, same place, hardwood bottom and a finger neck. Probably 40 acres, not even that, probably 20 acres of hardwoods in between several fields where it comes together, really where I like to be with a bow in my hand right there. Man, it's exciting. All right, right here is a new tape we got. Is this one we've already covered? No? All right, this one is, I think, yeah, this is Illinois. Let me see here where we're at. Yeah, we're on the edge of a field here, but we got some sparse hardwoods kind of behind us here. But the reason I remember now specifically, this was probably 10 years ago, specifically on this hunt, we had a real good trail coming up behind us, had some water behind us. I'm sorry, had water behind us, had a good trail out in front of us. And so it kind of kept the deer on this side of our stand. And the further you got back behind us, it got kind of nasty. So the deer really kind of stayed away from it. Out in front of us had a great trail. And I think it was my hunting partner on that one was able to, I think he killed 2 does on that trip right there on that actual one sit. I think killed 2 does on that one trail. So I think, matter of fact, I think we saw both of them fall. They ran about 30, 40 yards and dropped. I think we had already both killed bucks and we were shooting does now. So that's what happened. But okay, on this video here, now this is Canada. With these southern boys, we don't see snow very often, so we didn't know what to think. I've only been to Canada one time, but it was a fabulous trip. Snow on the ground. This one, now we're on this, depending on where you go in Canada, this is a little different. This was way back in, we had to drive like 2.5 hours back into the woods. No agriculture whatsoever, nothing but just woods for miles and miles. Tough to hunt like that, so typically the way you hunt that in Illinois is put some alfalfa out, some kind of feed or something. I mean, in Canada they use alfalfa by the hay bale and put it out. So we saw some good bucks up there. Ended up taking a pretty nice 10-point, not a giant, but a good chocolate horn 10-point there the last day of the hunt. Passed up a few good bucks, but ended up killing the nicer buck that we saw. But it was a great hunt. Love the surroundings, beautiful woods. I really encourage, if you love to bow hunt, go to Canada. It'll be a fantastic hunt. I think one time it got down to, gosh, I think it was like 10 below, and that's kind of chilly, especially for a South or a North Florida guy. It's tough, but. Yeah, this is going to show right. This is still Canada. It shows shows some of the thicker woods and they come up on the edge right there. There's a small buck right there coming. Pretty big bodied deer, but as you can see, not really a shooter for Canada. But I think we passed him up. Yeah, but anyway, we were. Oddly enough, in that stand, we had a big evergreen tree, and it was, I'm not sure if that's the kind of tree it was, but it had like 3 big trees growing up, and we were right in the middle of it, kind of like a fixed stand in the middle of it, so we had a lot of cover around us. That is my favorite setup, is to be right in trees like that and have that kind of cover around you. It's perfect in my book. But, all right. We got another one, or is that it? Got one more? All right. Is this the next roll? No? Finishing up that one. That was a big-bodied deer. Oh, yeah. Okay. Now, this goes back in Illinois. Man, this was about 12 years ago. As you can see, there's a train track. I mean, very close to where I think my hunting partner was hunting this particular hunt, and he videoed this himself. He was by train tracks, and it wasn't 50, 60 yards. Well, the deer up there are used to that. So, down here, we would be like, wow, what are we doing so close to a train track? Well, you'll see why. There's a scrape right there, not 40, 50 yards from the train tracks. So, a lot of deer, where that is, you saw there was a kind of a field on the other side of the train tracks. Well, those deer are going to be on this side where the woods are. So, he set up right inside there. He didn't put the stand there. The outfitter had the stand there. Of course, the reason why, you see, it's a good place to set up. There's scrapes, and right there, I think he's panning in on some deer scent that he had put out. If it wasn't top secret, should have been right there. Probably before top secret's time, but that little orange thing, that's a scent dispenser. So. But yeah, that was during the rut. That was kind of mid-November. But yeah, hardwoods right up against that those train tracks were coming through, and it was a great little, kind of like a little pinch area where they come through there. So hope that give you a little insight there, a little neat, something Tom thought about doing for tonight. So going to a commercial break, guys, and we'll be back and do this again.
Rise and shine. It's time to hunt.
Repel and kill the bugs that bug you most with the all-natural 100% deep-free BioShield.
You've waited your whole life for this moment. Don't spoil your opportunity because of poor preparation. Keep your optics clean and fog-free for a clear shot every time. Fog Zero.
All right, guys, we're back. Again, Thursday night. I don't think we have another caller, so what we're going to do right now is go over, I want to just run through quickly. Well, first, let's go over the 1/10 1% Club. This show, Hunting the Rut Hotline, is sponsored by Top Secret's 1/10 1% Club, which is very exclusive. 10 million deer hunters. There's 12 million deer hunters. Only 12,000 bottles of our 26-ounce reserve. This is the best of the best. We got it in doe estrus, and we also have it in breeding buck. 12 million deer hunters, 12,000 bottles, only 1/10 of 1%. So the 1/10 of 1% Club, 1/10 of 1% of all deer hunters in the U.S. are going to have a bottle. So you can log on to our website, go to huntportland.com, or if you Google Top Secret Deer Scent, take you right there to it. And you can join the club. You can do it two ways. Which I think the second option is getting a little bit late in the season to do. You can do a 4-pay and pay for it $25 a month for 4 months, and then specify when you want your bottle delivered. So, and then the other one, of course, you can just pay, it's $100 all at one time. So yes, it's a $100 bottle of doe estrus or breeding buck, and 26 ounces of the finest that you'll ever see. So join today. There's a lot of club benefits. I think Tom just put it up on the screen. There it is. But a lot of benefits to being a club member. And once you join, once you get your bottle, you buy a bottle, you automatically are in the club, and nobody can take it away. Next year, it's automatically yours unless you give it up. And then, of course, somebody else can grab that spot and take it. So 1/10 of 1% Club, guys. Join today. Love to have you. I think right now we're going to go through, just real quickly, we're going to go through our product line because I'm real excited about some of our new products this year that were released at the ATA in January. We released 3 product lines. The first of which was BioShield, which you saw a few commercials there. BioShield is an all-natural repellent, repels ticks, mosquitoes, black flies, chiggers, bed bugs, just about any biting insect. No-see-ums. I had several people tell me that great against no-see-ums and yellow flies. Yellow flies are horrible down here, but BioShield, we have it in 3 different forms. We have it in, of course, we have it in spray. The spray, of course, is your biggest line of defense, is the spray. Spray out like that. And also have it in a hair and body wash. So if you're going, let's say, hey, this time of year you're going to hang a stand, getting your stands ready, putting out game cameras, or going out scouting, take you a bath in the hair and body wash BioShield. That's going to start getting you protected against ticks. And man, those dadgum chiggers that are horrible this time of year when it's hot. But if you'll take a bath in it, wash your hair with it, and then spray down with it, and if you already washing your clothes prior to that, if you're washing your clothes the night before in the laundry, we got BioShield in a laundry detergent, so your clothes are kind of inundated with the BioShield laundry. You spray down, plus you take it's a system, so you got three things fighting for it, and it's really, really important. It really, now when you got all three working for you, go out into the field, it is very effective against ticks. Man, ticks right now are carrying some bad stuff, so really keeps the ticks off of you, mosquitoes, those daggum chiggers, but the most important, ticks, chiggers, mosquitoes, I'm telling you, it really helps. So BioShield, it's a great product, all natural, DEET free, doesn't have DEET, it's all natural. Use it on your kids, use it on babies, use it on pets. We get that question a lot, can you use BioShield on a pet? It is all natural. You can use it on pets, dogs, cats, any pet, birds, anything. So very safe. Now, scent defense is one that, get our scent defense over here. Scent defense we introduced at the ATA in January in Indianapolis. Scent defense has Neurorex, which is, Neurorex is the active thing that drives BioShield. Well, scent defense has Neurorex in it to repel ticks, mosquitoes, and all those that we just talked about. Plus, it's got copper silver synergy in it, which it kills the bacteria that causes odor, and deer love the scent. It smells awesome. So it's got kind of like a honeysuckle smell, citrus smell. Deer love it. So also comes in a laundry, comes in a hair and body wash, which is really, really nice. It's got a great smell to it, and you'll love it. You wash in it, you'll love it. And also, of course, comes in the field spray. You'll see this if you turn on the outdoor channel, Sportsman's channel, or Pursuit. You can't miss scent defense. It's going to be on there. You'll see it. So yeah, and the spray, you just spray down with it right before you go out. Right when you get off your four-wheeler, your golf cart, spray down with it. Keep the ticks and stuff off of you walking to your stand. And then once you've worked up a sweat getting up into your stand, spray down with it again. It'll cool you down, plus it'll keep the mosquitoes off of you. You won't have to hang that thing on there and turn and light it. You already got protection from not only mosquitoes, but ticks and chiggers and all that other stuff. So scent defense, great product. Next product, Fog Zero. Fog Zero we released at the ATA in January as well. Fog Zero is a neat product. It's this is our Fog Zero lens treatment cleaning kit. So just like the name Fog Zero, it once you apply it to your optics, your rangefinder, your binocular scopes, any kind of optics, glasses, you paint it on your lens. It looks like a magic marker. Paint it on your lens, then you immediately take the microfiber cloth, you slide up the clip, take the microfiber cloth out of it, wipe it off. The more you use the Fog Zero solution, the more you paint it on and use it every time. Hey, you're deer hunting, you're gonna be sitting there 3 hours, might as well do something. Hey, clean your lenses. The more you use it, the better it gets. But everybody's done it. You've seen a big buck, or you've seen a buck or something, throw up that rifle and you're breathing heavy. What's the first thing that happens? That scope goes, you can't see a thing because it's fogged up. That stops that. So Fog Zero also has a buffing pad built into it and has a brush. So you can brush out the big particles first, paint your solution on, clean it off, buffing pad. So Fog Zero, great little product. Plus, We also sell it in a 2-ounce spray bottle for bigger applications. You can put that in your backpack as well for big applications, and also in the automotive section we sell it in an 8-ounce bottle. So Fog Zero, great product. So looks like we got a new email question coming in here. Let's see. In your opinion, what features do you look for when buying a bow? Well, when buying a bow, I like to keep it simple. I'm kind of, even though I do like a compound, I don't like to get real fancy with it. I know, like I said a while ago, I'm not real wild about a peep sight. I don't shoot a string loop either. I know a lot of people do, and it's a good, string loop is nice because it does keep your string from wearing out. But by the time you've worn out a string from not using a string loop, it's about time to replace the string anyway. So one of the advantages of not using a string loop is as soon as you see a buck and you're nervous, well, it's a lot easier to hit that string with your release and then trying to find that string loop. I've done it, and that's one reason I took it off. So I don't use a string loop, but a lot of people do. Most people do, and nothing wrong with that. It works great. So, but anyway, biggest thing I like to do picking out a bow, how smooth is the draw? Some bows, and you can immediately tell when you break that breaking point, how smooth is it? How does it feel when you break it right here and you're at full draw? All right, when it breaks, if it's still hard to get right here, then I'm not real wild about that bow. But if you do it and it breaks and it feels like, man, I could sit there for 10 minutes, that's a good bow. You want it right there like that. The parallel limb bows that they have today, I really like. They're short. You know, typically in years past, a shorter bow was a lot less forgiving, and man, it was tough to sight it in. Tough to be consistent with a short bow until the last few years. Such amazing, you know, they made them so much better. A short bow now, like this bow that I've got, is, gosh, I think it's only like 32 or 33 inches axle to axle. But it's very, very forgiving, very accurate, shoots about 320 feet per second, so it's very fast. But yeah, smooth draw, that's about the biggest thing I look at. Shoot it, you know, hey, when you're picking out a bow, you know, it's a big investment. I mean, you're talking with arrows and the sight, stabilizer and all the accessories and all that go to it, quiver, I mean, gosh, $200 in a sight, you know. You got over $1,000 in it, probably more than a lot of deer rifles. So heck, shoot the bow. They'll let you shoot it there. You know, they'll take you in the back, let you shoot it, see how you feel with it. That's really the best way. Shooting that bow will let you know how it feels. You know, it's just individual. You know, I shoot a Hoyt Factor. I really like it. It's very smooth for me. But there's tons of bows on the market. And they all have great quality. So really shooting it, that smooth draw, feeling it, that's the best way to know. So, guys, we appreciate you tuning in this week. Hopefully Don will be back. I'm not sure about his schedule. I think he's probably back next week for a week or so. No. You may see me again next week. So we enjoyed tonight. We'll be back next week. Encourage you to call in, email us, Facebook us, send in the questions. We'd love to hear from you. And as we get closer to hunting season.